Hi guys, I'm Carly from Carly's Creative Clay. I'm doing a really quick straight to YouTube video, and this one is for the British Polymer Clay Guild, which I am a member of and I love them. On the members only group this month they're doing the competition for making a cane. So I thought I would help out those people who haven't done canes and show you a really easy one that actually looks really sophisticated. So here goes. It starts out like a lot of good canes with a basic bullseye cane. So let's start with that. So I've rolled out and conditioned. I've not properly measured, and I'll show you. Anyone who watches my YouTube videos, which by the way is a Wednesday evening at 5 o'clock, British summertime, Greenwich Mean Time,
live YouTube stream.
Whichever. It's a live YouTube stream. But anyone who watches that knows I hate measuring out. So I've got a lot of workarounds where you measure in situ. So starting out with a basic log in a single shade with the ends cut to size so that it's flat rather than rounded. Okay, stick that in at one end of a contrasting colour. Now make sure that you've got the clay that you're wrapping round firmly pressed against your sticks. You don't want air bubbles, and I'm going just over until that colour meets like that. That extra lip you don't want, because you'll end up with a ununiform circle. So you want to come along and cut along that line, so then you end up with that. So your log with your first colour in, okay, and you're going to repeat that with your next two colours. Now I don't suggest putting the joins along the same edge. I would put that in the middle. So I'm going to start my join up there. See? It just means that you've got a better chance of having a uniform circle rather than slight distortions of the layer below showing through on the next one. So again, where it meets, and you just cut off the extra. Like so. Do keep some kitchen roll handy to give your blade a wipe. Last colour, we're on to a teal shade. I'm not so bothered that they're overhanging along that top side. Can you see it's not level? Because I'm going to cut them all level anyway, and I have a million uses for my scrap clay, so I never have a problem with getting more of it. If it cracks a bit like that, just push the cracks closed, make sure it's nice and solid. So that is my log, my bullseye cane rather. Where it's so hot, I've got very cracking clay. But there we go. Nice roll out. Make sure it's all firmly stuck down. And then I'm going to trim the ends once I've made it a little bit smaller. Now when you reduce a cane, you need to start in the middle and go to the outside edge. If you go from the outside edge inwards, you're going to distort the image. So always inside towards the ends. I've always found round canes are a lot easier than squares and triangles because you can roll them. Sometimes, and I know it's a proper cheat, I actually will reduce square canes as circles and then reshape them back into squares afterwards. You do get a bit of distortion until you really get used to that, but cane work is not my
Forte.
It's not what I specialise in. I am more of a model maker. Now, some of your end slices are going to look distorted, not have all the right colours in. You haven't messed up your cane. The ends always distort. Cane caps help, which are plastic or glass caps that hold the ends with suction so that it pulls all the way through, but even then you've got some distortion. But there we go, we've got our Bullseye cane. Now we could stop there and that is a legitimate cane, but we're going to go fancy. What we're going to do, line it up in front of you so you can see along the whole thing, because you need to cut it in half. You can measure it. I hate measuring. I would say that's half. Now be careful, it might want to roll. Just take your time making sure that this slice is done safely and neatly. There we go, like that. So unstick it from the board. Let's get that bit of green and put it back in where it came out of there, like so, because you want all your layers to match up, and that will vanish back out in a reducing. Then we're going to lay them down and do the same to chop them into quarters, like this. And your quarters are easier to chop than your halves because it's not trying to roll everywhere. Whoop. There we go, right, like that. So you end up with these little quarter, almost looking like, what's that candy corn but in the wrong colours.
Yeah.
That's the sweet, but the shape of it, the sort of teardrop. Right, now here's the nifty bit. We're going to get some more. You can either use a different colour. I'm choosing to use the same colour I used for the centre, and you're going to turn it into a square. So I'm going to pinch along like so to make my first edge. Takes a few minutes, but should have really done this off camera, but you see me how it's done. Once I've got it starting to look in a square shape, I use my rolling pin to get those flat sides on. Lay it so it's straight. I use the side of my fingers to get that edge sitting in the right place. Two. There we are. We've got a nice square shape. Ends a bit distorted, but that always happens, so let's take the tops and bottoms off. There we are. Right, our square stick. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get this, lay it with the widest section towards the square like that. Line it up, make sure it's sitting how you want, then turn it over, repeat for the next side, and again do this for all four sides. like that, then third, and the last one in like that. So you now got a square that looks like that. Yeah, you can reduce that down to whatever size you want, and how you reduce, again from the middle, you squeeze along, flip it, squeeze along, flip it, keep doing that, and it will reduce down to how you want. I'm gonna cut it and show you. Let's take off that bit that didn't quite square up because I've got too much yellow there. Let's cut it and lay it out, and I'll show you what it looks like. You can put a border around the whole thing to make it a single tile, or you can line them up so that you end up making bullseyes again. I am going to put a border around mine, I think. Let's do that. Shall I do it in silver? That would be nice, won't it? Let's roll it out. This is a last minute thing. So let's get my pasta machine and do it on that, because that'll be quicker. And I can show you a quick pasta machine trick. Keep your cane out the way. Now, feed it in so that it sits properly against your roller. Start your roller at the top, your handle at the top. You're coming down to the bottom, taking it out, bringing it back up to the top. This is because bringing the handle back up will make it very, you're fighting against gravity basically, so it makes it harder. And you can get very quick at it, like so. Whoop. Up come. Right, a little bit thinner than that, I think. I always start on a thicker setting and then go back through, because it's actually far easier, and then you don't really get much resistance. Whoops, but it is wanting to go sideways, which is typical for my clay. That'll do. Like so. Now, you can make it into a wide sheet, but what I'm going to do is just trim it up and put it round all four sides. Watch when you're taking clay off your blade, it's so easy to cut yourself, so it's worth being careful with it. There we go. If you're making something like a necklace, you probably don't need a cane this big. You can make it a lot smaller, but I tend to go in for things like soap dishes. If you're interested in how to turn your cane into a soap dish, have a look up for Carly's Creative Clay on YouTube. I've got all my old videos on there, and one of them is turning a cane into a soap dish. I'm literally just going to line up along that side like this, wrap it round. I like to tear. I know there are people out there shouting at me for that, but that's how I do it. Just make sure you line that edge up, and because you put it through a pasta machine, it doesn't matter that it's not one single sheet. You can still use it. Just make sure it's all on tight and there's no air bubbles So I've just got that little patch to patch in there, like so. Whoop. There we are. So this really is one to show someone who can come against a lot of different problems with making canes. Hopefully I've demonstrated a lot of them here and shown that you can still end up with a really good cane. Come on, sit back in place, you. No one told you to move. There we are. Right, that's all firmly enclosed. So reduce it down a bit just to get rid of some of those join lines, like so. And can you see I'm squeezing from the middle and bringing it out like that. You can also use a rolling pin and roll over the top if you don't want to do the squeezing method, like that. Right, I'll cut it down and then I'll show you what it looks like. So like that, then like that. There we are. So let's do some slices together, yeah? Now when you're cutting cane slices, put your cane directly in front of you and get over the top of it so that you can really see whether you're cutting even slices. You can use a ruler next to it so that you can measure out your slice width. I tend to eyeball it. Right, let's do this. Whoop. Get the pasta machine out of the way so you can see properly. Put that down and match up tiles like so. And it's a bit more of a classy thing than a Bullseye cane, I think. And it does look okay even if your lines don't match up perfectly. So let's take it off, hold it up so you can see it better. Right. So that is a simple but classier way of doing a Bullseye cane. I hope it's helpful. Okay, I love to see your versions of it. Thanks very much for watching. I will speak to you again soon probably. Bye bye.